Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Back at you with another segment with my boys Vlad, Barry, and today we got WBZ FM's 98.5 Sports Hub's Matt McCarthy. How you doing, Matt?
Hey guys, what's going on? Good to be on with you.
Oh, thank you for being on. You know, we're glad to have you on. It's kind of like surreal to have somebody on we're listening to while we're going to work on, on the radio and stuff like that. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, no, it's good to be on with you, and I guess you must be working odd and late hours because that's when you'll find me.
Hey,
late on Saturday,
I'm a hustler, we're working out here.
That's right.
Just like you, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Matt, it seems like your declaration from 2019 has came true, huh? It's finally came true when you said the Patriots dynasty is over.
Yeah, it may have been, a year early on that. I seem to recall making that declaration, I don't know, maybe after the Patriots lost to Pittsburgh before they won Super Bowl 53. But, hey, it's like Bill Belichick. It's better to be early on something than to be late, right? So, yeah, no, I mean, they put it in my face, of course, when that happened. And, it was great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was thrilled about it. There's nobody who enjoys being wrong more than me, when it comes to like burying the Patriots dynasty. I wish I were still wrong about it. But I mean, guys, it's rough. Like, it's rough. Brady's gone and you figured, okay, last year, maybe that's a bit of a fluke. Like, I understand that Brady's gone and you're not going to win any Super Bowls here because, you need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl and all that. I still thought they'd be able to win some games, though. Like, they've improved the roster, but it's not the fact that they're losing games. Last year, you could say they're losing games because they're not good, they don't have a quarterback, all that. Well, this year, I feel like you have an okay quarterback. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback or anything, but he's a rookie quarterback, and he certainly hasn't killed you. That's for sure. And the roster is better, and they're still losing games. And it's the way they're losing games. I mean, to lose yesterday, and, we're recording this on Monday, it's just to lose that Cowboys team, they were handing you the game. They were handing you the game. And, I mean, you have the ball with the lead late. Jones turns it over because they haven't thrown all game, and Jones turns it over. Okay, so you do that. You hit the big play. Boom, there you go. You're up 3 points. You got a 3rd and 25. A 3rd and 25, and you let them get 24 on you, and they kick the game-tying field goal, and then you get the ball. You get the ball in overtime. You don't drive down the field. You punt the ball away, and you completely break down, and they score the game-winning touchdown. Like, an inexcusable loss. Like, they're losing games the way teams lost games against the Patriots in 20 years, and I don't like it.
The coverage on that last play where they didn't have any safeties over CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper, that was unbelievable. What was your thought on that?
Like, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, that was my thought. Like, what the hell did I just watch? Are these the Patriots? And the answer is no, they're not the Patriots. Like, for 20 years, I watched other teams have breakdowns like that. Like, what are you doing? How do you not have a safety over the top? That guy's really dangerous. What are you doing? You lose the game like that? For 20 years, I watched the Patriots beat teams like that, and now the shoe's on the other foot. I mean, it's completely the other way around. They're losing games with poor coaching, turnovers. Like, the hallmark of what made the Patriots great was they simply just didn't beat themselves for 20 years. Like, that I always said, like, that was the genius of Tom Brady. It's like, even when he didn't play well, he never beat you. He never turned the ball over. Like, I mean, go to the Bucs game a few weeks ago. Did Brady play all that well? No, he didn't. But did he turn the ball over? No. And when it came down to it, final 3 drives, touchdown, field goal. They win the game. So, but the Patriots don't do that anymore. It's remarkable. It's like that whole winning thing walked out the door with Tom Brady. I mean, I thought the talent walked out the door. I'm kind of surprised that the ability to win basic football games has walked out the door too.
Yeah, so
For sure.
I saw a stat that actually said the Patriots are one of the last teams, like in terms of like rankings, to go for it on fourth downs. I think we've gone for like 3 of them all year, and we've converted like 2 of them. What, has Bill Belichick lost, I don't know, some balls or something? Like I don't understand how you kick it there with 4-3, and Mac wasn't like killing it the whole game, but up to that point he was completing passes. The guy's accurate, so I don't understand why we didn't go for
70%.
You know what I'm saying? And punt it back to Dak Prescott. I'm like, well, you might as well say you don't want to win the game, right?
Right.
Now they need just a field goal to actually win the game. And 3rd and 25, we saw what happened. So, like, how can you not think that they're going to go right down the field and do that again?
I mean, John, you're spot on. Like, I mean, it does appear that they've lost their guts, their balls, their moxie, whatever. And I understand that you're going to manage things a little bit differently because you do have a rookie quarterback and you don't want to put too much on his plate. And that's like a recipe for disaster. I get that. But the way they're coaching these games, they're coaching scared. I mean, Jones had something like 13 passes, guys, in the fourth quarter. Like, you're like midway through the fourth and you're like, run, pass, run, pass. I went to Division III Ithaca College. That's what we did at our football games because it was Division III. Run, 3rd and 8, we got a pass, we're punting it away. That's the Patriots offense. What the hell are we doing here?
Right, for real, man. I went to a D3 school too, Springfield College, that ran the triple option offense, and majority of the time they ran the ball, and then they would only throw once in a blue moon. So I can definitely relate to that. It's like, come on, like what's going on with being conservative and playing scared and and not playing to win. Like Herm Edwards says, you play to win the game. Like, we're not playing to win games. We're playing to keep games close and for moral victories and to be respectable. Like, who gives a fuck about being respectable and about moral victories? Not here in New England. We're about winning football games, or at least it's been the last 20 years. Not been about winning games and doing what's best for the team to win. And it's like, that's completely, like you said, gone right out the window and out the door as soon as, Brady left. And for the last year and a half, we've been about losing games and getting our asses kicked in crunch time when the game's on the line. And it's just so demoralizing and just like, depressing as, a Patriots fan to watch these games and to see these, how the coaches, Belichick and the rest of the coaches, have continuously mismanaged and, and just made the wrong decisions time and time again. It baffles me, and it's like, it's mind blowing that this continues to happen like every single week, pretty much. It's like, if we're not playing a garbage team like the Jets and the Texans, it's like we're pretty much, I wouldn't want to say guaranteed to lose, but it's a pretty damn good chance that we're gonna be the ones fucking up the game and losing. For sure. But just wanted to ask you a question now that we all vented our frustrations and
I'm not done. I still got some more.
Our anger. Right, I'm sure we do have some more frustrations to let go and to relieve about the Patriots. I was just gonna say, but particularly with yesterday's game, I was just gonna say, were there any sort of not any sort, but I was just going to say, with the way the season's gone, do you still feel like Bill Belichick's like overrated or as a coach? Because I'm kind of starting to think that, he's really, without Brady, clearly not the same coach, and honestly, like, not as great as we've thought, he's been in the last 20 years. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, players win games, right? And Bill Belichick has been the first person to say that players win games. I guess I'm just surprised with how they're losing games. Again, last year I wasn't all that surprised that they went 7-9 because the roster just wasn't good enough. I'm not saying they have a Super Bowl roster this year, but I mean, it's better than what they had last year. Like, I don't think they have a 2-4 roster. I don't. I mean, I think they have a 3-3 roster, or, I mean,
4-2, right?
4-2 roster, like, on if something breaks your way, and something, things haven't broken their way, but I mean, you look at the Miami loss, guys. Like, how do you lose to that team? I mean, did you see them in London the other?
They've
Like,
only won one
Oh,
game.
yeah.
That was the
You
only
see-
game
you
they
saw it.
won.
right. It's the only game they won here in Foxborough, here in New England. So, like, it's just, what the hell is going on? You're losing to teams like that. I mean, they're a dumpster fire right now, and so
Seriously, just lost to Jacksonville yesterday.
right. So, like, you gonna lose to Jacksonville later on this year? You've got them too.
I hope
I don't
not.
know.
God no. Whew, God no.
I don't think it's that bad, but I mean, stranger things have happened. They're losing games in ways that they've never lost games before. Like, how many times can you say the Patriots lost that game because Damian Harris fumbled as they were going in for the game-winning score?
Yeah.
Like, that just, or, you know, they're losing games like they lost yesterday. Like, you don't see it. It's shocking to me. Like, you know, after the experience of the last 20 years, like, it's not the fact that they're losing games, it's the way that they're losing games. It's very regular. It's very ordinary. And it's the type of ways that you lose games that you generally point and say, well, that's a poorly coached team. That's what's shocking me the most. I mean, I'm not here to say fire Bill Belichick or anything like that, but
Don't be afraid.
You got to say, like, at some point, you got to say, like,
Right.
Who else you guys gonna get? Who we gonna hire?
Don't know,
I got
man.
nothing for you. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. But I mean, coaching's been a problem. There's no doubt about it. Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels. You have to start asking if he was truly a product of Tom Brady.
That brings me back to that's what I was gonna ask. Like, is Bill Belichick putting too much trust in Josh McDaniels when it comes to, like, some of these play callings? Like, you know, third and whatever, he's putting Brandon Bolden out there to run the freaking ball, and I'm like, why is Brandon Bolden touching the ball, you know, in crucial parts of the game?
I've got no answer for you. I couldn't tell you. I mean, a horrible play call. I'll say this. I think the philosophy comes from Bill. Like, Bill's going to say, hey, you know, like, the reason they're running the ball, you know, yesterday, like, you look down in the fourth quarter and you're like, yo, Max only attempted 13 passes. That's not necessarily Josh saying, we're going to do this. I think the way it works is Belichick says, we're running the ball, and then it's McDaniels' job to dial up the play. All right, you know, we're going to, you know, run a wham block here. We're going to run a draw. We're going to run a toss. Like, that's McDaniels' job. Bill says, run it. Josh says, okay, I've got these three options. This is what we're going to do. So, I mean, the Bolden play, that's on Josh. But I think the overall philosophy, it has to come back to Bill Belichick, right? I mean, the buck stops with him. He doesn't have a defensive coordinator named, probably because it's his kid.
Is that an issue? Having his kid call some of the play and having Jared Mayo call some of the play. I feel as though that's becoming an issue for the defense as well.
And turning into memes out there, and sensations. Like, what the hell, man?
I don't know, but doesn't it kind of sum up the Patriots' experience this year? You look at those memes and you're just like, oh, this is our new reality. This kind of sucks.
We're becoming.
It's like I feel like we're the freaking Detroit Lions here, because the Detroit Lions are a team. Well, I'm saying I feel like a losing team. You know, a lousy, a fan of a lousy franchise that's, you know, losing games and, you know what I'm saying, and making dumb decisions and doing boneheaded things out there. You know, which is certainly just like it's discombobulating, the fact that, you know, we're really at this point in time that we're really seeing this Patriot team perform, you know, this putrid, to say the least. So yeah, Matt, wanted to ask you, like, what on offense and defense is wrong with this Patriots team? Like, what are the issues? There's multiple issues, but can you pinpoint some of, like, the main things that, like, is going wrong that they just can't seem to get right?
Yeah, offensively, I turn to the offensive line first and foremost. Like, Yodny Kajus probably should be prosecuted for that sack because he tried to get Mac Jones murdered yesterday.
Yes,
holy crap!
What the hell was that?
Whoa! I mean, freight train a coming, boys! Holy crap! What was that?
I was surprised Mac Jones got up from that, man.
I mean, you know, just rest in peace, man. I mean, it's just like you're going to get the poor kid killed. So, I mean, the offensive line is a huge problem. I think play calling is an issue. I don't think they're being aggressive enough. And I'm not like, hey, let's spread it out, go 5 wide, bombs away. That's not a great idea with a rookie quarterback, but they're too conservative at times. They're coaching too scared. So they got to open it up a little bit, not significantly, but they need to open it up more than like you look down, and, holy crap, this guy has 12 passes and we got like 8 minutes to play in this game. And he's 12 for 12. So it's like, can we open it up just a little bit? Like it's
right.
Yeah. So yeah, go
right.
ahead.
And
That's
the one
what's funny
time,
to me. That's what's funny to me. With Max stats, they're saying he's throwing 71%. I'm like, the guy's throwing 20 passes a game, man.
Right.
Like you think he can at least complete 20 passes a game?
Yeah, I mean because everybody should be able to complete 20 passes a game in the NFL. Like, you know how it is, modern day. And I'm not trying to like discredit what Mac Jones has done this year, because I think he's shown you he's an NFL quarterback, which is no small feat and no small accomplishment. But to win games in the NFL in 2021, like, you got to open it up eventually, and they're just not opening it up, and particularly in the red zone. Yesterday was a little different. He hits Henry on the play action fake. You're like, okay, all right, let's do a little bit more of this. And then what? How many passes did he throw in that game? I didn't look at the final stats.
It was
21?
15 for 21.
Okay, so it was 12 through the fourth quarter. So it's like, could we have opened it up a little bit sooner?
It was only 9 more after that, right?
Right, exactly, when you had to. So can we open it up a little bit sooner here? That's my complaint with the offense for sure.
I know that Wildcat play on the end zone. I know they ran it twice and they scored on it twice. I hate it. I can't.
Listen.
Oh man,
I don't like it either. But when we're facing third downs, I'd rather that than give it to freaking Brandon Bolden.
I'd
rather do that.
I just want to trust the kid and let him throw, let him play.
I mean, there was a sequence in the game where,
go for it, John.
Matt. There was a sequence where we called a timeout, and you could see, Mac Jones was clearly frustrated. Like, dude, I got this shit. Like, can you, let me do what I do? Because the announcer actually said it on the TV. So clearly, they're not trusting him as much as Josh McDaniel is saying that he trusts him.
Yeah, I think you have to let the kid fail eventually, right? Yeah. In sports and in life and whatever, like, you got to fall flat on your face at times and then get up. Like, it's almost like they're
which he did.
Right.
Did. He threw that
good for him
into a touchdown right after.
Vladimir, right. Spot on. Like, so they shouldn't have been throwing in that situation. They do. He kind of panics a little bit. He's throwing backing away, sails the ball a little bit, goes off of Bourne's outstretched fingertips. His bad throw. It gets returned. What's the next thing he does? Confident throw down the sideline. Bourne, see you later, touchdown. Like, it's just good for him. Like, that was the best part about yesterday. You want like a moral victory to take away from something, and not that I'm a believer in that one bit.
I'm so tired of that word this year.
Oh, you and me both.
Me too. Me and you both.
Here's the thing: to have a moral victory, you need to eventually have some real victories.
Exactly.
And they're 4-0 in games that had moral victories, but they're 0-4 really in those games. So what are we doing here?
Right, seriously, and like you said, like, when they opened it up, yesterday, when on those, couple plays, that, play action pass to Henry in the end zone, that was a nice pass, and then that one to Kendrick Bourne on the double move where, he actually burned the corner, and then the safety bit and tried to, jump the route and stuff. It's like, and they were successful on both those plays, so it's like, why don't we see more of that? Like, why aren't they calling more plays for, Mac Jones to throw it downfield? And Mac Jones threw a perfect ball, hit him right in the hands, right in stride for him to just, take off and run to the end zone. So it's just so discouraging to see that, when they do call these plays to open it up, and that they do end up working and they do end up scoring on those plays, that they don't call more of those. It's just like they just get away from that and do go right back to what they were doing that wasn't working out as clearly. So I wanted to ask you about like the defense, because I'm seeing that there's a lot of issues on the defense, particularly with, the front seven. Only Matt Judon's really the one making plays, or Jawan Bentley, who had a great game yesterday. What do you think is going wrong for them defensively, and not being able to get the stops when they need to?
I think I overrated their talent a little bit entering the year, and I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. Like, maybe I thought Hightower was going to be more impactful coming back. He's an older player coming off a year. I still don't rule out the possibility that he finds himself because, I mean, we've seen Hightower have moments where you're like, I wonder if, he's losing a step, and then, he's wrecking the entire Rams in Super Bowl 53. So, I don't rule out the possibility that Hightower is going to be more impactful down the stretch. I have to hope that Jamie Collins, is going to give them something, coming back. But the Steph Gilmore thing is still just so puzzling to me. I don't understand why they weren't willing to pay that man his money. He wanted to be paid.
Seriously.
They paid everybody else. And, now I see you giving up 35 points in overtime to the Cowboys. And not that Gilmore would have been back from the PUP list, but I mean, if you had paid the man the money in the first place, something tells me he wouldn't have gone on PUP because he held in. He didn't hold out. So he showed up and said, guys, you have my quad? Yeah, remember how I tore it last year? Guess what? Yeah, I'm coming back, and I'm coming back sometime between week 7 and week 10 or whatever, the process is, and you can pay me then. So he's traded. He's gone. I don't know. Kind of feels like they could have missed him yesterday. Could have used him yesterday with Lamb kicking their ass up and down the field.
Right, well, he wouldn't have played yesterday because
Right.
he was on the public, so he would actually be coming back, eligible to come back at least this week against the Jets and stuff. But no, definitely
Right.
that would have been, great to have him because they really don't have a number one corner and a guy that can match up, on these, top tier, elite receivers like, a CeeDee Lamb who absolutely torched and freaking owned Jalen Mills yesterday. Yeah. I'm even surprised they had Jalen Mills covering him the whole game because I'm
it was either that
touchdown, like he cooked him.
It was either that or have Jawan Williams on the field, and I think we'd all rather.
Why did they put J.C. Jackson?
You know what I'm saying?
They could have put J.C. Jackson on CeeDee Lamb.
Then you got to worry
I'd
about
rather have John
Cooper.
Altidor out there than Jawan Williams at this point.
Seriously. You know what I'm saying? I know
you got some coverage skills there, John. Can you quick hips and all that?
Hey, I played in high school. I can remember some things. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God!
I know we're definitely shitting on them right now. We do got 11 games left. Is there anything we can do to do you think this team could muster out the wins to actually make it into the playoffs?
I'd feel better if Gilmore were coming back next week, right? I mean, so that's the whole Gilmore conversation. Now that really kind of comes to a head here. You're like, okay, well, you get off to a rough start, but you got Gilmore coming back, and maybe everything's going to slot into place. I do not believe the season is done yet by any stretch of the imagination. The schedule does get tougher here, but I mean, you know how that is, guys. Like, it's still so hard to project schedules in the NFL. I mean, the Chargers game, maybe you lose that game. Well, Justin Herbert could get hurt next week. So, we have no idea. So I'm discouraged by the way they're losing these games. And it feels to me that, at 2-4, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the concept of the 17-game schedule, now the 16-game schedule. Like, you got that extra game of buffer. So it doesn't feel like it gets late as early as it used to. You know what I mean? But they've got their work cut out for them. They do. They need to cut down the turnovers, and they need to stop losing games in stupid fashion. Like, that's the concerning thing. It's like the habits with this team don't appear to be good right now. They appear to be, you could argue, in these losses, frankly, a poorly coached team, who turn the ball over and all that. So if they start to limit the turnovers, if they start to, frankly, start out coaching teams, which they should on a weekly basis, but if I'm sitting here debating who had a worse night, Bill Belichick or Mike McCarthy, I don't know if I can answer that, and that's a bad sign for Bill, because if you can't out-coach Mike McCarthy, who, again, I'm happy not to be the dumbest McCarthy out there. I'm towards the top of the list, but that guy's at the top of the list. Good God.
No, you're good, man. You're not dumb, bro. You're good.
Not as dumb as that guy, that's for sure.
Right. I'm sure you'd be a better coach than Mike McCarthy, because that was the most frustrating thing yesterday was that Dallas played honestly not a really good game. Like, they made a lot of coaching mistakes, a lot of dumb decisions, and a lot of dumb calls that made absolutely no sense, and that were just straight were just dumbfounded. So it was like, despite of them doing all those stupid and idiotic stuff that they did, and Mike McCarthy being probably the worst coach in the league, you know what I'm saying? They still ended up winning and giving us so many chances, legit handling it right on a silver platter. Like, here you go, Patriots, take the game. We don't want to win it. Like, you guys can go win the game. And the Patriots didn't want anything to do with winning the game. It's like, damn, like, jeez.
Hey,
oh my goodness.
There's a trading deadline coming up pretty soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's any chance we make any kind of trades to improve this team?
I mean, they have to, right? I mean, unless you're like out of it by the trading deadline, which you shouldn't be, because you got the Jets coming up, then you'll be 3-4. I mean, I think where they could really use help is
hopefully.
Let me tell you, if you lose to the Jets next week, well, I'm jumping ship. Like, I mean, this puppy's going down, and I'm the first one off it. Like, you lose to the Jets, and you're 2-5. Have a good one. See you later. Lifeboat's on the Titanic. I'm the first one on it.
For real, seriously, might as well just wave the white flag and and not play the rest of the season. Honestly, there's no point of playing the rest of these games if you can't beat freaking a New York Jets team that's honestly the worst team in football, arguably. So yeah, that would just be, my goodness, embarrassing, humiliating. I'd be sickening.
I mean, if we do make a trade, like, what do you think we should be looking for here?
Offensive line. I mean, you got to fix that, right? I mean, you can't get this rookie, this rookie killed. They've clearly got some issues there. I don't think Isaiah Wynn's a left tackle. I mean, they've had
terrible
issues. Yeah, like
that's an understatement.
He's been terrible, man.
Terrible. No, that's the understatement of the year, John. This guy is an absolute joke. Isaiah Wynn should not be on the field, like, at all, period. Like, he's a liability. He is straight poo-poo. He blows. Like, brutal. Like seriously, it's getting to the point where, why don't you just make up an injury and put him on IR and not play him for the rest of the season? Because I've never seen an offensive lineman as bad as he's been this season. Like, it is just absolutely horrendous, horrific.
Right.
Like, my goodness, guys. Can you be worse as an offensive lineman in the NFL? My God.
I mean, maybe Marshall Newhouse from a few years ago would have something to say about that, but yeah, I generally tend to agree. Isaiah Wynn has
been
a disappointment.
A shit show.
First round pick, but here's the thing. So it's why you need to improve this offensive line, because let's say, all right, you're going to move on from Isaiah Wynn, or he's not going to be your starter anymore. Well, you're going to put in Yodny Kajus, the guy who should be wanted for murder for getting Mac Jones killed yesterday. Like, I mean, is the FBI hunting that guy down yet? What the hell's going on here?
And
we need to fire the offensive line coach.
I mean, Dante Scarnecchia is not going to walk back.
To that door, but we need to bring somebody else in, because the offensive line coach ain't doing shit. He ain't doing a damn thing.
Let me tell you,
these boys out.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in Dante Scarnecchia's living room as he's watching these games. You imagine his reaction to this shit?
Oh, God. I can only imagine. I know. It must be nuts, insane.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Vlad.
We have about 8 minutes left, so I was thinking maybe we can talk a little bit of Red Sox.
At
least some good news or something good happening compared to the Patriots.
I mean, before we get into that, right? Happy birthday, Alex Cora, right? Today's the birthday. It'd be kind of nice for us to get a win on Alex Cora's birthday, right?
Of course. I mean,
but we got to.
What do you think of the Red Sox so far, Matt, and their chances of winning this series?
I mean, they have exceeded my expectations all year long, right?
All of us.
Facts.
So,
not the only one.
No, and I mean, good for them. I mean, it's been a tremendous run, and I mean, I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I love the Red Sox. I'm all in. I'm all in on this, and I mean, once they've had some rough moments this year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But once they beat the Yankees in that wild card game, you know, I mean, and they played so well against the Rays, particularly late in that series. I thought the first two games in Houston were really eye-opening to me because entering the series, I kind of felt like, all right, I give Houston a 60-40 chance to win this thing. You play it 6 times, you play it 10 times, maybe Houston wins 6, the Sox win 4. That's kind of how I felt about it. I think the series is so much closer to a toss-up, maybe even lean Red Sox after those first 2 games. Because I just don't think that Houston pitching staff is all that good, to be totally honest. Not that the Red Sox are trotting out, Pedro Schilling and Derek Lowe, in their pitching staff. But I feel good about their chances coming back. I think this is going to be a highly offensive series. I just feel better about the Red Sox pitching than I do about Houston's pitching. Like, Nate Eovaldi's the best pitcher in the series, and I think the series is going 6 or 7, and I'll take the team with the best pitcher in that scenario. And, like, Nate Eovaldi, I feel like if he pitches in Game 5 or Game 6, you can almost, like, they're going to win that game. And Houston doesn't have that guy where you're like, all right, they're going to win that game because that guy's pitching. I feel that way about Nate Eovaldi, and to me, that could be the difference in a series. I like the Red Sox to win this series. I do. I feel really good about their chances coming back.
In how many games?
6 or 7. I mean, they're not gonna win it at Fenway. Like, somebody was saying to me, like, "Hey, Game 5, like, they're gonna clinch this thing at Fenway." I'm like, no. The Red Sox aren't that good. They're not that good. Like, their pitching staff just isn't that good. But if you make me pick right now, I'd lean towards Red Sox in 6 or 7. It's gonna be still a close series, still a bit of a toss-up. I just feel a little bit better about their pitching staff. Both of these teams can really hit. I just feel a little bit better about the Red Sox pitching staff than I do about Houston's after those first 2 games.
What do you think about Xander Bogaerts? I feel like he's been struggling a little bit the last couple of games. Has he got to make some kind of adjustment?
He's been up and down really for the second half of this year. Bogaerts is my favorite player on the Red Sox. I love the guy. I mean, I think he's as steady and as consistent as you get in Major League Baseball. That wrist injury he had earlier this year kind of felt like derailed him a bit. I think he will contribute at some point. Like, he's just too good a player not to. And he's just
right.
He's too consistent a player to be this inconsistent. You know what I mean? Like, that's not to get all analytical here, but, like, that's got to revert back to where it should be, right? And I mean, they're good enough offensively around him that he's going to get a pitch to hit, and he's going to hit it at some point. So, like, people were criticizing Bogaerts down the stretch, and he powers them in the wild card game. He was spectacular. So he's going to run into one of those games eventually. I'm just not concerned about Xander Bogaerts. I had bigger concerns with this team. Bogaerts is farther down the list.
I think law of averages, he'll be back. He'll come back around like Brad Steven usually love to say. Law of averages.
And I don't want to be that guy, but yes, law of averages.
Sure. I was just gonna say, what are your thoughts about Kiki Hernandez? I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah, as far as how he's been playing this postseason, particularly this series.
PK's on fire, man.
You mean Babe Ruth? Like,
like Verdugo was saying.
Yeah, no, Babe Ruth. Like, yeah, no, I think Willie Mays has been great in this series for the Red Sox. Really, I mean, what the hell is this? I mean, put it this way: Hernandez is a winning player. He is. I don't think he's the best player on the planet. Far from it. I don't think he's the best player on the team. I don't think typically he's a great player. I don't think he's a great player, but man, he just seems to be a guy who's in the middle of it, right? I think he's a winning player. I think he's a good, versatile, solid, winning player who has, gotten on the heater of a lifetime here because you know what? That's kind of what winning players do in winning time. And, Kike is a guy who's been there, done that. He's been like a kind of core cog guy, versatile guy, winning guy for the Dodgers. And he came to the Red Sox, and I still don't think he's a leadoff hitter. I still think ideally he's like a 7 or 8 hitter on a championship team, but they don't really have that guy. But man, I really do like watching him play. Like he helps you win ball games, and he's doing that, here in this series. He's been on fuego, as Cora said.
Fuego.
Yes, facts. In fuego, yes, sir. Right,
yeah, man. I think
we have about 2 minutes left.
Right, about 2 minutes left. Who got a question? The last question here.
Barry usually have one good last question.
Oh, good one. All right, cool. Since this is the last one, I was gonna say, who are your top 5 Boston athletes that you've seen play?
Ooh. So like best player or favorite player?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right.
Uh,
How about
You
I
can go
do a mix
both.
of both? How about I do a mix of both?
Exactly. Mix it up. Right, makes sense.
Pedro Martinez. Pedro,
Ooh, love him. Yeah,
the man, the best
Absolutely.
pitcher I've ever seen. Tom Brady, of course. I mean, obviously.
that's a given. Right. Goes
A given.
without saying.
Rob Gronkowski, the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL.
Mhm. Yep. Yes, sir.
I need a Celtic here. KG was better than Pierce, but Pierce is just he's the man. Like if you grew up
The
when
truth.
I grew up,
Hey,
I mean, Pierce was the Celtics.
he
Paul
got
Pierce.
stabbed up here. He has to be the man.
He's the man. And
Absolutely,
finally,
man. Won us a banner. Right.
that's right. Pierce is like the Celtic of my generation, and it's just I just he's the best. Love Paul Pierce.
Oh man, that dude was a problem.
Oh,
yeah, man.
the best. Yeah, no, he's the truth.
The truth.
He's
That's
truth.
the name.
Paul, in the words of Shaq, Paul Pierce is the motherfucking truth.
That's right. And number 5, my favorite athlete of all time, because I'm a baseball guy. I was born in 1991. If you grew up in Boston in that era, you idolized Mo Vaughn. Mo Vaughn is my all-time favorite baseball player.
Wow.
The hit dog, the man, just a good dude, period. Like somebody that you want to be, right? You want to be Mo Vaughn. And I wanted to be Mo Vaughn as a kid. Like I idolized him. He's my favorite player of all time, my favorite athlete of all time, Mo Vaughn.
Wow,
That's awesome.
Wow, that's a great list, man.
Definitely
That was definitely really I like that. That was
Me too.
really cool for sure. Yeah, no, Mo Vaughn's like underrated. I like not a lot of people talk about Mo Vaughn. I get he didn't win anything, but it wasn't because of him. He was a great player, talented hitter.
Sure.
Like dude had power, get to all fields and could. Man, he could crush dingers, man.
Get it out of there, man.
Oh, he hit bombs. Mo was the man.
Sure.
Yes, straight was. Mo Bombs is what I used to call him. Mo Bombs.
Yes, sir. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us on Pro Fan Sports Podcast, man. It's been a pleasure interviewing you. You know, we're going to keep listening to you on, 98.5, the Sports Hub, man. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And you're welcome to come back here anytime, man.
No, seriously, I'd be happy to come back. Keep in touch. Don't be a stranger, guys. And this was a lot of fun. You guys keep it fun. You keep it light. That's the way it should be. So keep up your good work as well. And always good to be on with you.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it, man. This was awesome and at a great time and so much fun. So I appreciate you coming on and giving us your time to be on Pro Fan Sports Podcast. It was definitely a pleasure and an honor, to be on a podcast with you, and definitely keep doing your thing with 98.5 the Sports Hub. And I've always enjoyed listening to you, particularly on the Felker and Maz show, and your other shows that you do as well. So I'll definitely look forward to keep on hearing that moving forward, and definitely we'll keep in touch and have you back on here sometime in the near future, without a doubt.
Anytime. You guys are too kind.
Have
Thank
fun
you so
watching
much
that
for the
game
kind
tonight,
words.
man.
What'd you say?
Have fun watching that game tonight. Go
Go
Sox.
Sox.
Exactly.
I can't wait.
Yes, sir.
Got
Yes,
some
sir.
dinner
Are we
coming
winning
up here in a
tonight?
few, and let's go Sox.
Are you sure
Awesome.
the Sox win tonight?
Sox win tonight.
Awesome.
Let's go.
How do you think Erod's gonna do?
Gonna be a nail biter.
I like that.
Have a good night,
That's
Matt.
how I feel, man.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet
Take
you.
care.
Have a great night. Enjoy
You
the
too.
game.
Thanks, guys. This is a lot of fun.
It was definitely.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. There you
That
have
was
it.
awesome.
Was
Sure.
absolutely.
That was nice and quick. If you're still watching the show, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're following us on the other platforms as well. It's at ProFan Sports on everything. And on IG, it's at ProFans_sports. So we're looking forward to interacting with you. Hate, like, subscribe to the channel. You know, everything helps the channel grow. So until episode, what episode? Episode
83.
83.
83, man. We'll check y'all out. Peace out, man.
Peace out. Have a good week, everyone. See y'all next week. And quick birthday shout out to my guy DJ B Dog. It is his birthday today. So
Happy
big
birthday.
fan of Pro Fan Sports, you know, very close friend of mine, you know, that's, you know, brother from another mother. So I had to real quick show him some love on this podcast since it's his birthday today. So yeah, definitely just want to wish him a happy birthday and wish him many more birthdays in years to come. So hope you enjoy your day and live that B Money lifestyle.